I'm Dana Denha, and you're watching FYI. Environmentally sound technology is ever evolving. Year after year, we see strides being made to protect the planet for our youngest generation. The city took over the Ann Arbor Farmers Market, bringing the latest tech during the Home Electrification Expo.
The City of Ann Arbor is hosting an event for various vendors and contractors to share what their companies and their mission are all about, which is to help people be more energy efficient in their homes.
What we were hearing from residents is that they needed more experience with some of the equipment. They wanted to know who to talk to, who are the experts, who are the vendors, where can I learn more.
One of the best things you can do to improve your home's energy efficiency is to air seal it. What this sealant will do, it will find all those gaps and cracks up to a ½ inch. And so it will greatly improve the air quality of your home.
When it comes to efficiency, we're talking about the ability for equipment never before that's been able to heat in our climate to be able to do so and make it so that a person's monthly utility bill doesn't go crazy.
Really, all the energy that the world uses is in the daylight. It just has to be, the engineering has to be right to convert it into power.
What gets me out of bed every morning is my kids. And everything that I'm doing and all of the work that I'm doing is because, not for me, but for them and their kids.
For more on the city's sustainability goals, visit a2gov.org/A20. Stay tuned, and we'll be back with more in exactly 30 seconds. The city is home to more than 160 parks with scenic views, places to play, and some top-notch facilities. See all that Bandemer Park has to offer the community during this Park Peak.
Bandemer Park is a 38-acre natural area and park along the Huron River west of Arbor Pond. The park has 2 main entrances with parking lots available at each. Bandemer Park features paved and unpaved trails through the main body of the park. Restrooms, benches, accessible canoe dock, fishing dock, a disc golf course, shelter, picnic areas, and grills. The Arbor Pond walking loop features the central attraction, the Huron River. Bandemer is also where you will find Ann Arbor's only dirt bike jump course. Bandemer Park is on Washtenaw County's border-to-border trail and is itself a B2B trailhead. The south side of the park is home of the Ann Arbor Rowing Club. Canoe, kayak, and tube rentals are available at the Argo livery just a ½ mile away. The park also features one of the 4 Canoe Imagine art installations in Ann Arbor parks. Bandemer Park is also a good place to be still and observe nature. For more information, visit a2gov.org/parks.
The City of Ann Arbor has numerous ways to connect with residents and businesses. Learn more about staying in the know in this month's City Roundup.
Hi, I'm Joanna Satterley, City of Ann Arbor Communications Manager. Do you want to know what's going on in the city? here's how to stay informed. Subscribe to city topics that interest you, and you'll get bulletins delivered straight to your email inbox and messages. There are many topics to choose from. Visit a2gov.org/subscribe to get started. Make sure you're notified in urgent situations, online or by phone. Sign up for the emergency alert system Everbridge. Don't delay. Go to a2gov.org/alerts to learn more. Interested in attending a meeting or event? The digital calendar gives a glimpse of what's happening and when. Save the date, all the dates, at a2gov.org/calendar. Is video more your style? CTN's got you covered with locally produced programs, news and talk shows, and an electronic bulletin board 24/7 with events and announcements community-wide. Watch CTN channels 16 through 19 on Comcast Cable, or catch the action online and on demand at youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor and a2gov.org/watchctn. Social media is another great place for the latest city news. Follow along on Twitter or X at A2Gov. Search The City of Ann Arbor on LinkedIn and Facebook, and residents find us on Nextdoor. Finally, the city website, a2gov.org, is your official source for all things City of Ann Arbor. Visit for news, opportunities, and information on projects, elections, Parks and Rec, city services, and so much more. It's all here at a2gov.org.
Those that live in this area are definitely familiar with Oxford Companies. The commercial real estate company is dedicated to creating a brighter Ann Arbor. Oxford has been working with A&H Lawn Care Service and A20 to help reach the city's sustainability goals by transitioning to electric equipment for outdoor maintenance. Joining me is Operations Manager at A&H Lawn Care, Jim Hoeft, and Mike Van Patten, Director of Commercial Property Management with Oxford Companies. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Well, let's talk about this initiative with the Sustainable Lawn Care and how it came about.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We typically do multi-year contracts when we're dealing with landscaping. So we got to the end of our contract last year, sitting some time over the fall and winter, and I gave Jim a call and said, hey, we're looking at bidding out the next 3 years. And one of the things that was a natural part of the conversation as we're working on all these other sustainable goals is moving the lawn care that way. So, Tim and his guys did a great job of putting some facts and figures together and doing a lot of the legwork to figure out where they could make those improvements. And, the next was just sitting down and figuring it out. Ultimately, we were able to hash out the plan we have right now, which is, doing a third other equipment each of the first 3 years, and then just kind of cycling through from that point. So 3 years from now, they will be 100% electric at all of our properties.
That's pretty awesome. Jim, why don't you talk about the actual company's part of this goal? Were you guys doing any electric lawn care at this point, or is this new to you?
It was a new process for us as well. We have, over the past couple of years, been looking into the different options that were out there. It's a different and cost investment, infrastructure investment here at our shop location. So when Mike called us and said, hey, we're looking at this, it really, like he said, it made us dive in deeper, really dig into the facts, the cost weighing out options. And it's led on to many other things for us here to then provide this service currently exclusively for Oxford. So it's been a true partnership and joining forces together, what we feel are two great companies to be leaders in this initiative in Ann Arbor.
So after you sort of ran the facts and figures, do you foresee transitioning to doing this for other companies as well down the line?
I think it can be something that we see with other customers that we have in the Ann Arbor market. That could be a service that they want with that kind of equipment. One thing that, as Mike and I and Tim here, the president of our company, as we've worked together with this, we're already seeing technology changing. So this hybrid model that Mike is speaking of, which came out of our discussions, which is great. We literally sat down, started at a coffee shop and put our heads together and said, how can we make this work for everybody?
which is why this is such a great opportunity to do it first with Oxford, who's willing to grow with us through this process and transition. So I think it is something that we could see going forward. But right now, our focus is 100% with Oxford, to do this with them, to build our relationship, which is now what we call a partnership, more than a relationship. It's been a long-term relationship. Now it's a true partnership, and we're really excited for that first.
I do appreciate you mentioning the technology and how it's sort of evolving, because I will say, when I first bought this house about 10 years ago, my father-in-law, who's now deceased, gave us an electric lawnmower, and I literally couldn't mow. I could only mow the front lawn, and then I'd have to charge it to mow part of the back and then charge it again. And I see more now, like my neighbors and stuff have sort of gone electric, and I can see, even for like a personal homeowner situation, that the technology has grown by leaps and bounds in the last 10 years.
For sure, and I'm glad you bring that up. And in the commercial, because it's so, like you said, for homeowners, that it's there. You can mow your yard on one charge. You can weed whip your whole yard on one charge. You can blow off all your stuff with one charge. Commercially, that's really taken off in the last 3 years. So when Mike called, it's almost like his timing was like perfect, because the equipment's there. We're able to use the mower that we're using this year. It runs about 7.5 hours on a full charge, which is able to charge here at its charging station at our shop overnight. We did have to revamp our trailer so that we could charge the handheld equipment and the multiple batteries to be able to handle the sites that Mike has that are so large on the commercial end. But that technology is even changing already this season. So we're already moving on and have demoed other products that are out there, other equipment that we feel are going to increase the quality of cut, which is something A&H is really big on, is the quality that we provide. And Oxford standards and A&H standards, they literally are like this in lockstep. Thanks to our owners and Mike and his team. So my job as the ops guy is like, okay, what's the next equipment that's coming out? What can I offer next year that's even going to be better than what we have? And it's a cost, but we're working hand in hand to figure out how we can absorb that throughout this contract season or period, I should say, and hopefully vastly into the future with Oxford.
Well, and a lot of this stuff, I feel like you have to pay for it at the front end, and then it sort of pays for itself as you go, which is a big thing about sustainability. So you have to pay for something to then get the savings in the end, because then you're not using gas, oil, all that stuff when you're mowing once you're fully transitioned, right? Or these are hybrid, so they're a little different.
The model's hybrid. So what Mike was speaking of, so we took to make this work over the 3-year contract period that we're in, to kind of spread that cost out, the ROI, return on investment, all those buzzwords that we all like to use and that are important in business, right? We all look at ROIs every day. This hybrid model that we speak of is a third of the equipment on that trailer this year is electric, fully electric.
Okay, gotcha.
There's next year, 2/3 of that trailer will be electric equipment. And by the final year in season 25, we will be going out there with all electric equipment to maintain the lawn and landscape.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, that's a quick turnaround too.
Yes.
Mike, why don't you talk about the project and working with the City of Ann Arbor A20 to make this happen?
Yeah, that's really what kind of started the conversation, right? The A20, we had the first reporting deadlines that actually got kicked back to this year, but they were slated to start in 2022. So it kind of started this internal conversation about what are some things that we need to be doing to making sure that our buildings are kind of living what we say we're doing, right? That we are being those leaders in the area that, as Ann Arbor's largest commercial landlord, we're kind of paving the way for other people to follow down this line. So we had started a lot of those conversations, started a lot of that research, and a lot of that started with the city's initiative, and then working closely with A20 and Jan over there, kind of assess where we were at and where we needed to be. That was our next step, and one of the quickest and easiest things to do is talk with A&H about the service that they provide. There's a lot of other things we're doing internally as far as our operations and getting our buildings up to speed, but like Jim said, it was a perfect timing with the end of the contract and hitting the reporting deadline. And the city's got some funds, some grants that they've worked with A20 on being able to provide different owners for different parts of that sustainable effort. So they're certainly trying to help the local companies as well.
When you speak with representatives for A20, what do they say about how this will impact the environment? Because, you see a lot of lawn care services out there, especially this time of year. I don't see any of them using electric equipment. They're all using gas. And that's even like Jim mentioned, like the handheld stuff where like a lot of homeowners personally right now, I think are using stuff that is battery operated when you're doing like your blowing and your weed whacking and stuff. But I mean, lawn care services are using like a high powered, they're putting gas in that kind of stuff. So how does this helping impact these goals that the city has?
Yeah, I think there's a few different ways that it does. Like Jim said, it's come leaps and bounds in the last 1, 2, 3 years. Where a couple of years ago, it didn't make sense for anybody. I don't even know if they had a riding lawnmower, let alone one that got you 8 hours, right? And now that's come a long way. And like Jim said, the models this year, they're already seeing longer batteries, better product overall. It's I think what I had seen recently is that the technology is evolving roughly every 5 years for what gas did back in the day, and every year now. So it's going very quickly. So as to how that plays into everything, it's a big investment, and A&H has been a great partner in figuring all that out. There are a lot of companies out there that the only thing they're looking at is the bottom line, and working with A&H, like you said, that's one of the reasons that we work so well together. We're both Ann Arbor companies. We're in this community. We live in this community. We work in this community. We love Ann Arbor, and we want to kind of lead by example. So ultimately, being those leaders sometimes takes sacrifice, and sacrifice takes sacrifice. It's not always easy, right? You don't just get an electric lawnmower, it just drops in your lap. So I think that's part of why you see it is companies are having to make that conscious effort to move that way. And some companies are doing that. Some companies aren't there quite yet, but we hope that, kind of providing this, at least for the commercial side, might provide a path for some other companies to realize that, hey, it's not an all or nothing, right? You can start with a little bit this year and do a little bit next year, do what you can. And let's kind of move towards that 2030 goal. It's not a net zero by 2024. It's we're working that way over the next decade.
I just want to emphasize on what Mike said there, because I think that's the key to this whole thing. This was not about how can we make more money. This was truly about love where you live. And, the CEO of Oxford, as Mike can tell you, he's said in past conversations, he doesn't know if Mr. Hoffman's ever left Ann Arbor. It's a love where we live. We wanted to give back. And this was more, when we looked at it, not about money. It was about doing the right thing. Right thing for our relationship with Oxford, the right thing for our company, the right thing for Ann Arbor, the right thing for the environment. To give back in a way that's what it really is all about.
I will say I'm jealous. I want an electric mower for my own home because I hate going to get the gas for the mower. That's like the worst task on the planet is going and filling up a thing to get gas in your mower. What do the employees at A&H think about the new equipment? Do they like it?
That's been the awesome part about the hybrid is had I had to switch 100% over to electric, it probably would have failed. Only because of the training, the time, the getting used to it. It is different. And there's no doubt. Having done it myself, I thought about the cool part is I could have probably done this interview while mowing grass. That's how quiet that machine is. Could have had my earbuds in and just been talking to you guys and propped on my phone, right? But so they love that part of it. They love that you don't smell when you get off of it, or when you're not using it. You're not running back and spilling fuel into the trailer and having to clean it up and having spill kits and things like that you had to have going forward. So they're liking that part. The transition of learning to use it, that it's different than gas, but it's okay. It works the same. You just got to learn how to use it. So that's what has been the hard part, but they're really liking it. And now it's kind of like, oh, that's my machine. Nobody touches that one driver because we only have one right now. So next year we'll break up the fights a little easier because there'll be 2 pieces. Just kidding. There's no fighting over it. But so that's kind of the feedback. It was a little pull at the beginning, or pushback, if you will, from them, because most of our staff is multi-year experienced people that have been with us for a long time. So it was a change, and we all know how that can go sometimes. But they're buying in, and that's what we asked them to do when we created this initiative. But again, that's why this hybrid type model that we're using with the third to third to third was completely, and this is another reason why it was the right way.
I like how you guys both mentioned this community aspect of it and loving your community and how that's so important to it, because I can foresee having someone like Oxford Company, who is like a leader in commercial real estate, starting this process, but then people that are using A&H or other lawn care services then seeking this out to be, because of their love for the community.
Yeah, I mean, it lined right up with our mission statement: be a leader and an innovator, and provide the best for our clients and our community. I mean, when we sat down, it was like, this is a piece of cake. This is what we stand for. And Mike was like, this is what we stand for. We're like, okay, let's figure it out, put it together, and boom, within a month we were rolling with it. So it's just great. I mean, love it.
Well, and I think, Mike, you can maybe talk about this a little bit. I think people probably don't realize that companies that are as big as Oxford really do want to take care of the community.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a lot of people out there, good, bad, or otherwise, that have a certain view of, landlords in general. But, we're here to say that's not the case of all, and certainly not the case with us. This was so important to Jeff and everybody that works here from just a personal standpoint, that, like Jim said, that we're doing the right thing for, the environment, for the community, for all of those things. It's, when we sat down and crunched the numbers and all of that, it wasn't even a question. This is the right way to go. And it was just a matter of figuring out how to get there. And that's, ultimately we were able to do.
Jim, talk about A&H. Do you guys just do commercial companies, or do you do residential? What do you guys offer?
Sure. When it comes to the maintenance piece, it's 100% commercial. So all of our lawn care is 100% commercial. When it comes to maintaining the landscape in general, beds, all the landscaping, irrigation, that's 100% commercial. On the landscape side, we do residential install work, new lawns, redos, patios, and stuff like that. But on maintenance, it is 100% commercial.
Okay. Well, before we go, why don't you guys talk about, why this is important and maybe hopes for the future?
I'll let Mike go first because he's better with words.
I don't want to keep hitting the same points, but it's really important to touch on, and to continue touching on. The climate change, what we're seeing year over year is very real. And it may be one small step, right? Is what we are doing here going to stop climate change? No, but if we can get other people to join in with us to kind of follow a similar path, and that's how you start slowing it, and slowing it becomes stopping it, becomes reversing it. And this is one of many things that we're working on, but it's certainly a big one. And we're couldn't have picked a better partner to do it with than Tim, Jim, and the whole crew over there. And we're very proud of what we've been able to do so far, and just hope that we can continue on this path, and like I said, lead by example, and maybe get some other people on board with us.
Yeah, and not just by example for other companies in this area. I feel like Ann Arbor is always a leader when it comes down to environmental initiatives in Michigan in general. And so you hope that once Ann Arbor sort of does stuff, that it trickles down to other cities in Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jim?
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess I'm like Mike, I don't want to keep hitting the same points, but it really, selfishly, it makes you feel good when you're part of something like this. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to do the right thing. And again, I mean, it really only is working because we started it with Oxford, because they are a leader. We want to be a leader. We feel we're a leader in our industry as well. So we put it together, and we're making it work. And we're only going to see great things coming. I hope, we can talk about this again in a year or in 2 years, and we say, hey, look how far it's come. And for us, it was really truly to what we want to see out of it is continuing to partner with Oxford, continuing to not necessarily grow our businesses, but grow our relationship, and continuing to help the community, continuing to do the right thing. And sometimes the right thing doesn't make more money. It's just the right thing to do. And this is one of those things. So I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I have to say, I've been in this business for 20 plus years. This is like a new aspect that now I'm rejuvenated, re-excited. We've got a demo coming of this machine that we've demoed once. And as we've said before, now there's going to be a bagger unit. So hopefully we can expand the service all the way through the fall season. And that's going to be a step that wasn't part of the talk here, but we're already looking at it. And then I can go back to Mike and say, hey, here's this next piece. Are we in on it? And that's now the relationship that we have. Not that we didn't have it before, but I can shoot him a text and say, hey, here's this machine. What do you think? Do you like it? Or that. And that's been exciting for me and exciting for A&H. And hopefully just allows us to continue, like I say, I know I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but to continue that strive to do better, and for the right reasons, not just for financial.
Well, I agree with you. I think it is a very exciting transition for Oxford and A&H, and fingers crossed for the future of lawn care. I want to thank you both for being on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
For more on this and other programs, visit h2gov.org/CTN. Visit youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to see all that we have to offer. And remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.